So I'm here with Miss Aisha Tyler. We're at the Ad Color Awards. First, I want to know, like, in this new age, you see like people's social media getting tangled up with the corporations they work for, like Jamel Hill.
Yeah.
And how does that affect advertising when you're still a person on the outside with opinions, but you work for a corporation? Like, how do you protect that as a brand or whatever?
You know, I think that's a really, really good question, and I think, you know, the issue right now is this is uncharted territory. That, you know, social media, as familiar and as natural as it feels to us, you know, especially the most active social media platforms are a few years old, 5 years old in some cases. And I think, you know, I remember getting on Twitter and thinking, like, you know, is this even going to amount to anything? And now it's this incredibly powerful social tool. And I don't think we really know how to divide the personal from the professional and the political. You know, I know for myself, I'm lucky because I'm my own entity, but I do think when I tweet or when I post, how would I feel if this was read back to me? How would I feel if this was read back to me in front of my mother? At the same time, I can't divorce myself from my feelings, and I can't divorce myself from critical social justice issues. I think in Jamel Hill's particular case, she was speaking for herself, and I think she's entitled to do so. I think free speech is protected in this country. Doesn't mean there aren't consequences, but I think when you're voicing a concern and you're voicing ideas that are not just your own, but a lot of people share, I don't think you should be isolated for that. I don't think she was saying anything that many other people have said, both in the public sector and also in the political sector. You know, I think in the end, anytime you post something, you have to be willing to take responsibility for it, and that's probably the crux of the issue. But I think as we move further into these tools being more powerful, those lines are going to be re-examined by everybody, by corporations, by individuals. Hate speech is one thing. I think justified political speech is another. I don't think you should be punished for that.
As a comedian, also, how has that changed? 'Cause it seems like the PC has become, like, the consequences have become bigger. Like, people say stuff and then they get seriously, like, blackballed or cut off. Like, I mean,
you know,
do you feel?
No, because, you know, look, I think we were seeing some of the ramifications for people's kind of racially charged or politically charged speech. I think at the same time, a lot of people get away with saying a lot of crazy stuff. The number one perpetrator of that is in the White House. He's been able to slide on a lot of incredibly reprehensible statements and actions that anybody else would probably have lost their jobs over. So I don't know, is that line hardening or is it softening? I mean, I think that's really the question. I don't think we're going to know until what's going on with that particular person is played out. And I don't want to live in America where, you know, you need to watch what you say. I don't think that's who we are as a nation. And I think especially now as people are becoming, you know, we're kind of moving, in my opinion, into a new civil rights era, not just for people of color, but for women, but for gays. And I think those groups wonderfully are overlapping and helping each other. I think when you look at the Black Lives Matter movement, that's a diverse movement. There's not just black people on the front line. There's people from every kind of oppressed group in this country on that front line, because we know that freedom for one of us is freedom for all of us. So as we move into this new era of social justice and of civil rights activism, you know, I think hopefully people aren't going to be afraid to stand up for what they believe in. And I think then the rest of us need to also stand up. What's happened with Jamel Hill, people have said, wait a minute, even her compatriots on her own show, I won't come back here without her in her seat. And I think that's the responsibility of the rest of us, is to stick up for people when we see them exercising their constitutional right to free speech.
I know that you're always going to share your opinion.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you know, I can't help it. Occasionally, like late at night, after I've had a couple glasses of wine, I save the tweet for the morning. Let me see how it looks in the cold light of day. But I feel as an American, and especially as a person of color, it's my responsibility to speak my mind and to embolden other people to speak theirs. You know, it's not just a right, but it's an honor to speak out on behalf of the oppressed. And I think it's something we all need to be more aware of every day.
Thank you, Aisha Tyler.
Pleasure.